The queues at the school drop-off could become a thing of the past, with the New South Wales government proposing an overhaul of the traditional school day. And other states, they are watching closely. 8 schools will operate with extended hours. That's through term 3 and 4. It's in a bid to modernise learning for both students and parents. And to discuss, we're joined by 9Honey parenting expert Nicolina Carafay. Nice to see you this morning. Can I say I really like this idea, and I think it's going to help a lot of working parents, right?
Same. I'm on the same page here. You know, in a post-pandemic world, there's been so many changes to our work life, to our lifestyles, and I think this is really coming into a line with that and being able to make our family life a little bit more flexible. That'll be hugely beneficial to parents and students.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at our family environment at home, and we're pretty lucky because hubby does the drop-off. I'm around in the afternoon to pick ups, but that is something a lot of my mates, it causes so much stress. So with this plan, what are the big changes?
So it is such a burden, those school drop-offs and pick-ups. So it's about taking that burden away from parents and allowing a more flexible day. So what that would entail is not changing the time or the amount of teaching hours. That remains the same, 9 till 3 p.m, which is also great news for our teachers who are already overworked. But it's about extending the hours by implementing things such as school homework clubs, before school or after school, and it would be things like sports activities, extracurricular activities. It's about utilising the time before and after and allowing a movement of the day so that parents can be a little bit more flexible with when they drop off and pick up and be able to return to work sooner, for example, if you're a stay-at-home mum or dad.
But who's going to do that then? Because the teachers are going to stay doing what their job is. So who's going to take care of what happens before school and after school? And is that going to cost money?
Yeah, right. So they are partnering with community clubs to be able to make this happen. So it is about sharing the workload as well, not only putting that on teachers. So community clubs are getting on board with this to provide those extra activities. And there's also talk of potentially could we do a shift day where it's, you know, half of the school starts in the morning and then half of the other school starts in the afternoon, which is very popular in Europe, has been working for decades, and is really beneficial for parents. So it's about doing this trial, seeing what works, because the Australian lifestyle is a particular lifestyle. Will it work for us or won't it work for us, and how can we go through the teething problems to make it happen?
All right, if someone else can get my son to do his homework, that'd be great, because he keeps telling me my brain is full, mummy. Good to talk to you.
My list, please.
Worker shortage could be filled by more than 500,000 job-ready women if our leaders paid closer attention. That is according to a new study revealing how better childcare and improved pay could fix the nation's job crunch.
To discuss this, let's bring in lead economist at the Impact Economics and Policy, Dr. Angela Jackson, and the Director of the Parenthood, Georgie Dent, with the latest. Good morning to both of you. Dr. Angela, you're involved in this research. What are the main barriers that are keeping women from returning to the office?
Yeah, look, it's a really good question, David. And we know Australian women are really highly educated, and this is probably one of the key things. We're #1 ranked in the world in terms of our levels of education. But when it comes to economic participation, we drop to 70th in the world. And so it's important to look at, well, why is that happening? Why are we so educated but we're not working? And when we look around the world, we can see that some of the policies that really help are around paid parental leave. So in Australia, for example, we have some of the lowest levels of parental leave, particularly for fathers. Childcare costs are a big driver, obviously, and young families understand this, that the cost of childcare really reduces the returns from working. And in Australia, if you're on average earnings, you pay some of the highest childcare costs in the world. The third thing is wages. Obviously, again, the return to work, you know, wages are really, really important. And what we see across our economy is that wages in those female-dominated industries is well below in male-dominated industries. Now, they're structural factors. There's a history here where we haven't valued female work as much as male work. And unless we address some of those structural issues, we're not going to unlock the potential that is just sitting there in terms of getting women back into work.
Yeah, that's where we need them. Georgie, there are currently 425,000 job vacancies across the country. That will more than double by 2026. I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I mean, the reality is reforming early education and care makes sense on a number of different levels. It's not actually just about setting children up for success, which we know quality early learning does. It's not just about facilitating women to return to the workplace and generate the economic returns that come with that. It's actually about creating jobs and creating the capacity for Australian families to work and provide for their families. We know that an investment in making early childhood education and care radically more affordable level would free up the equivalent of 855,000 full-time workers. It would generate over 255,000 full-time jobs in early childhood education and care itself. So the return on investment is so significant. This is an economic reform in addition to being a social and educational reform.
Well, Georgie, you're meeting with Labor leader Anthony Albanese this morning to address this issue. What are you going to say to him?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really thrilled that the Parenthood, we extended an invitation to Anthony Albanese and the Shadow Minister, Amanda Rishworth. We made the same offer to the Coalition, to the Prime Minister and the Education Minister. Anthony Albanese has accepted our invitation, and he's going to be meeting with a group of our members today to talk about how the high cost of early childhood education and care impacts them and their families, the way that it has forced people into not working the way that they would want to, or cutting back their days, taking their kids out of early learning to make their household budget work. And these are the kinds of stories that we want our members to tell the Leader of the Opposition and the Shadow Early Childhood Education and Care Minister, because we are talking about cost of living pressures, and for working families, aside from housing, early learning is the most significant cost families are dealing with.
Yeah, it's a very important issue, especially coming into this election. Ladies, thank you for your time this morning.